to the Boundless podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We have an awesome cosplayer here for you today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Shawnee, and I cosplay under Shellcat Cosplay.
Shalkat Cosplay. Could you please spell that for everyone?
Yes, SHAUCATCOSPLAY.
Got it, got it. Yes, she is an awesome cosplayer. And where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep, where a lot of cosplayers are based out of. That seems to be the hub for all the awesome cosplayers. But so basically, we're just going to do a discussion today about a few things related to the cosplay world. Just go ahead and start off. Could you give us your background about how you got into cosplay and why you cosplay, things of that nature?
Um, so I got into cosplay in um, like junior high into high school.
Hmm.
I was already into like anime and video games and everything, and my friend dressed me up as my very first cosplay ever. She dressed me up as Sakura from Naruto
Hmm.
for our high school because I went to a boarding high school. It's the
Oh,
Alabama
okay.
School of Math and Science, and they do their own mini convention called Geek Fest.
Hmm.
So she dressed me up for Geek Fest,
Hmm.
and I felt so cool, and it was so much fun that I kind of just hit the ground running from there on and started like picking my characters and like building my costumes and everything myself. So that's really how I got started. So shout out to Puvatel because she's the one who got me into it. She's big in like the Lolita fashion community.
Hmm. Hmm. And actually, I just learned about Lolita this weekend. I really did not know what that was.
I
So,
mean, there's so many alternative fashion styles out there, so don't beat yourself up for not knowing.
well, I had a friend who actually she wanted to get an autograph by Mana. I don't know his whole name, but you know who that is? Something
Mm,
Mana. Um, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure the people listening might know who he is, but I don't know. He makes these amazing outfits that are kind of like gothic and dark, and they look absolutely amazing. And the girl in front of us in line had one of them on, and she said that the dress cost her about $500. I was like, and she says she has multiple of these. I was like, wow, that's pretty
it's an
amazing.
expensive hobby,
It
but I mean,
really is.
the quality and the materials, you pay for the things that you want.
Exactly. And yeah, so anyways, that's just my whole experience. So I learned about that this weekend. I mean, yeah, this weekend at AWA. So anyway, so how long have you been cosplaying for? You said since high school. You don't have to give us your exact age, but
Since so it'd be like 2007, 2008.
okay, okay. And you said that Sakura was your first cosplay. Did you resonate with this character any, or like did you know anything about her even before your friend got you into costume?
I mean, I knew about her and everything. Like I was definitely reading and watching Naruto, but it was mainly Puvi going through her closet and seeing what she had, and she was just like, okay, well, if you wear this, you'll look like this character, so this is who you're gonna be. Like she controlled that whole thing. But from that the very next year and everything, I was picking characters that I cared about, that I felt
Mhm,
maybe shared an element of my identity, things like
mhm,
that.
mhm. So, do you actually have any pictures of this cosplay on your Instagram?
None exist, zero, and I'm
Um,
gonna keep it that way. It was
why
not
is
very
that?
good. It was fun,
Oh,
but it definitely wasn't good.
got it. Did you have like just the outfit, or did you have the wig also?
So I had it was just my natural short black hair, but at the time Sally's Beauty Supply had these hair highlighters.
Hmm.
Oh, and so we just like bought a pink one and just like put a couple of pink streaks in it, and I had like the headband, and the dress wasn't even the same style of dress. Like it, it was a hot mess.
I actually like to see the cosplayers before and after because, several cosplayers have just ridiculously amazing cosplays. I mean, armors and intricate leather working or stitching, embroidery, whatever have you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you get to this point? I want to see where you started. And they're like, oh no, we don't look at those pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool then. And
I
so,
have a couple of like throwback Thursdays on my Instagram that show from like the really early days. So some are on there. It's like a little fun.
which one would you say was your favorite from back in the day?
Um, so there's this anime I really loved called Sayuki,
Hmm.
and the character in there is she's called the Merciful Goddess.
Hmm.
And I just really loved the anime, and that was the first cosplay I like constructed props for and
Hmm.
everything. So it's like the first one I built, like fully built all on my own.
Okay.
And I thought it turned out really good, and I liked it. And that was the very next year. Uh,
Got it.
so that would have been 2008.
Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with that
It's
anime.
okay. It's old. It's no worries.
I mean, what were the props that you constructed?
She had this necklace that was like this circle mirror that attached to the belt at her waist and around the neck with a chain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I took like a big gold hoop earring
Mm-hmm.
and did aluminum foil to give it the mirror background.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Walmart and got like individual like plastic gold chain links to
Mm-hmm.
attach it. And then yeah, and I cut up like a gold scarf to do the belt around her waist and everything, and it came out and it looked close enough that I was really pleased with myself for just this thrown together thing.
Got it. Okay. And was that your first time building props?
Yeah, that was my first time building like something as intricate as like a jewelry piece.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And what props have you made since then?
My most recent prop that I'm pretty proud of are the wings for my Morrigan cosplay, because I had no idea how to make those, and it was just kind of like a hope and a prayer to put things together.
So
Um,
yeah, so I was actually looking at that Morgan cosplay on your Instagram, and it's absolutely amazing. And I guess two questions, like what made you want to cosplay as Morgan also? Because she's very, very different, from that original Sakura cosplay in character. And how did you go about making the wings? Did you follow any tutorials or what did you do?
so what kind of drew me to her, other than the fact that she's iconic and super cute and fun? I mean, the things that draws everyone to her. Um, I really liked Puzzle Fighter. So it has this,
Yes.
yeah. So I really liked Puzzle Fighter, and I used to play it all the time. And Morgan's animation in Puzzle Fighter when she gets mad is she squeezes her little bats in her hands. She like shakes them angrily.
Hmm.
And it was so cute. And I loved her drop pattern for that game. So I used to play her a lot in Puzzle Fighter specifically.
Hmm.
So I wanted to try my hand at it. And she's just a character that's done by so many people
Hmm.
in so many different ways that it was
Hmm.
just like, why don't I put my stamp on it? What kind of Morgan can I create for me? Um, as far as her wings, I didn't follow a tutorial, which, honestly, I should follow tutorials more. It would make my life a lot easier. But a lot of the times with my cosplay, I look at what do I have on hand right now? What do I don't need to spend money on?
Hmm.
And how can I use those things to make what I want?
Hmm.
Because I try to keep it cheap. Like I don't try to spend a whole bunch of money on stuff. So I look at what I have in my room first.
Hmm.
And one of the materials that I use on often for things is it's like a giant pipe cleaner,
Hmm.
and it's just fuzzy and has wire and it's bendable. And I was like, okay, so I see this. There has to be a way to use this to make my wings. And from the thrift store, about 6 or 7 months back, maybe, I picked up a long roll bolt of purple vinyl like paper.
Hmm.
And I was using it to just make the backdrops in my room whenever I wanted to shoot. So whenever I go to the thrift store, I always check to see if they just have large swatches of fabric,
Hmm.
because those are what I use to make my backdrops. So I had this from a backdrop I had used, I think, for my Mardi Gras photo shoot I
Hmm.
did. And I was like, okay, so I've got this purple vinyl-like material. I've got this black, bendy, kind of furry looking thing. There has to be a way to make this work. I just cut out like cardboard patterns to cut my shapes, and thought about the best way to fit it together, and somehow I made wings.
Very cool. They came out very well. If
I thought
you,
they were adorable. I'm proud of them.
yeah, like if you guys haven't seen this, head over to her Instagram. They're currently the top two pictures up there, but I'm sure by the time you hear this post, there will be more. But yes, yeah, definitely check it out. And regards to Puzzle Fighter, oh my gosh, me and my friends played Puzzle Fighter. I mean, just an unhealthy amount of hours we played that game. And oh my gosh, that was all through college. I mean, I remember we would play for like easily 4 or 5 hours straight a day. So on top of other games that, probably should have spent that time studying, but whatever.
It's similar situations here,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh man, now I want to go back and reload that. But okay. Anyways, moving on. So I had the pleasure of doing a shoot with you at AWA this year. And so we actually got to go, for everyone, of course, who doesn't know and hasn't seen the images yet, we got to go to an area outside of the convention to do a shoot, which is something that I crave and love doing because, you get rid of the like, kind of bland appearances of cons, and you get to work with other elements that definitely enhance the shoot. So you actually, Shoutcut Cosplay, actually picked this area. Could you tell us about this area, why you picked it, and even, where it is, if other people want to go there?
So we went down to Heritage Park in Smyrna, Georgia. It's not that far from the convention, which is one of the main things that I liked about it. We didn't have to travel too far to kind of get a great atmosphere in an area. It's a free public park, so just really convenient in those aspects. I chose it because it had like the Concord Woolen Mill ruins, so it had like this like old kind of husk of a building, just to give some interesting background.
hmm hmm
Yeah, so it was just fun. It was close, free, great atmosphere. All the things that can like really help out.
Okay. And so did you look up this area specifically for the shoot, or had you been there before?
I looked it up specifically for the shoot. I
Okay.
hadn't been there before, but I was just trying to find like affordable locations near the con. And it kept popping up. There's so much to it. Like the area we went to, we only got to experience a small part of it. So I definitely plan on going back to do more shoots
Oh,
because
wow.
there's even more areas there that will make great backdrops.
Oh man, yeah, I would definitely like to go back and see more of that area because we actually went around, what time was it? Like 6:37-ish, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so the sun was, basically already gone, giving the change of hours, but it was just very phenomenal. I can only imagine how it looks during the day. So,
We
what
didn't even get to see the waterfall. Next
I
time.
know, I know, and we didn't go to the bridge either.
The
The
bridge is
cover,
scary.
yeah.
It's this old one lane covered bridge. Like it's a little spooky.
Yeah, and I'm sure, there's the risk of whole being hit by cars. We don't really need that in our lives, so that makes sense. And so, which characters did you bring to the shoot?
So I brought two characters that are really important to me, two of my original Dungeons and Dragons characters that I'm currently playing with. I brought Shier. So if you check out any of my stuff, if you check out any of my Instagram stories, sometimes you can catch parts of my D&D session as I'm playing as Shier. And one of my newer characters, Desdemona. Um, yes.
Okay. And so, I do not know anything about these characters. I'm sure several of our listeners don't. Go ahead and give us a bit of background on both of them and how I guess they meshed with this location.
So I want to start with Sheer. She's actually the character that probably means the most to me right now. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so without going into too much detail or making this too long, I had a character before Shier that I played in 3 different campaigns, leveled her up, played out her full created story, and that character was Shaori. In this new campaign that I started with my roommates, Shiori is the mother of Shier. So this is like a lineage character. Like I got to play out the story of her mother, and now I'm playing out the story of her daughter. So this
Okay.
is a character I've had for 2, or basically the story spans about 2.5 years. And
Hmm.
anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons knows it's so hard to get a campaign that lasts long. That's the ultimate goal, is to watch your character go from low level all the way to high level and have regular play sessions. And so to have this character that spans that time frame
Hmm.
is amazing. And
Hmm.
when you make an original character, you know everything about them. Like I created Shier. I know everything that goes into her personality, her wants, her desires,
Hmm.
all of that.
Hmm.
So she's just really important to me. And my favorite class to play are druids. So
Okay.
Shier is naturally, she's a druid. So druids, that's like really tied to the earth, tied to nature. They believe in a natural order. They believe in, they can't even wear metal armor.
Hmm.
So druids have to wear like leather. They can't wear anything metal. They don't interact with it really. So being
I
out in
didn't
the
know that.
woods, naturally, perfect location to shoot a druid character. And
Exactly.
in this upcoming session, Saturday, I'm actually playing this session on Saturday. The characters are going to be going to a ball, which is why I chose a ball gown for Shier. Because when I do pictures of her in my stories, you just get like a little snippet, like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna play D&D, because I fully dress up for our D&D sessions, but I have never done a photo shoot for my D&D characters. And I was like, well, Shier's getting ready to go to a ball. This is a big deal. I want to do an actual photo shoot for
Got it.
this character and everything. So that's why I brought Shier, why she's in her big poofy ball gown, why she's out in nature. And she's just a really fierce fighter, and she fights for what she believes in strongly. She's an Aasimar, which is a race in D&D that's like descended from gods. Um, so it was just really cool to have her out, and that's why her contacts are golden, because for her race they have golden eyes.
Got it. Okay. I thought those were just to accent the dress.
No, it's fully part of her character design.
Very nice. And so, actually, before we hit the second character, I actually do not know very much about Dungeons and Dragons because I've never played it. And so, how do you level?
So you for D&D, you have, the dungeon master, and he essentially writes out the campaign. So if you've ever done like a choose your own adventure book, the D&D is the one who says, "Hey, there's this quest you need to go do." Like if you're playing a traditional RPG game.
Hmm.
But you're the person who says, "Okay, well, these are the items that I have on me and these are the spells that I have on me. What can I do?"
Hmm.
So after you defeat a mission or whatever, it's different for some DMs. He'll be like, "Okay, this is the amount of experience points you gain." And then you have a book, because it's a D&D is a pen and paper game.
Hmm.
So there's all of these written out rules, and you level up based on the written out rules. So if your dungeon master gives you this much experience points and says you level when you hit 5,000, and you hit that 5,000 experience points, in your book it'll be like, okay, a level 3 druid going up to level 4 can add 2 more spell slots. So in that book you'll pick, okay, I now have these 2 more spells.
Got it. And so, what are some of the spells that you can cast?
My favorite one is called Thorn Whip, and it's a cantrip, which means it's a 0 level spell, so it's free for me to cast it. So I don't have to sacrifice a spell slot or anything. I know this probably all means nothing to you because
No,
you've never
I
played.
I understand what you're saying. I've never played it, but it makes sense because I mean, I've played lots of role-playing games, and it's
Okay,
just
so yeah,
basically the same mechanics. Just now you're using pen and paper in your imagination instead of a video graphics card.
right. And Thorn Whip, I can just summon a vine whip with thorns on it to do extra attacks, and I like it because it's a ranged attack I can do. versus having to be close combat.
Okay. And so, what is your most powerful spell?
My most powerful spell, I think, is Moonlight. And basically, I summon a column of radiant energy. So it can deal extra damage, especially if something's like undead or dark or evil. Radiant can deal extra damage to it. And when a character or an enemy starts its turn in the spell that I just cast, at the level I am, I can do 6d10s of damage. So I can roll a 10-sided dice 6 times and
Wow.
add all those to get my damage.
Got
Um,
it. Okay.
and then I can move it as a bonus action. So you only get a certain, if it's like a turn-based RPG, you can only do a certain amount of things on your turn. So you can do an action and a bonus action.
Mm-hmm.
So I can summon the spell, someone can get hit by it, and as a bonus action, I can then move it to another point.
Got it. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah,
You know,
it's pretty nice.
I've always wanted to play the game, but I don't know anyone who plays aside from you now, so I've never gotten the chance to actually play it.
Well, if you ever have free online time, there's a website called Roll D20 where you can just sign up and hop in a digital game.
Huh. And like, I don't know,
So
like,
everyone's using like a webcam or the Roll D20 system. So they
oh,
can like see your rolls and you still communicate and talk and everything. It's basically just like webcam D&D.
interesting. Look at that, learning something new every day. Very cool. Okay. And so now for the second character.
So, whereas Shier is very much do the right thing, super moral, traditional druid. So she doesn't like the undead or skeletons or zombies or things like that. Shier is fully against that stuff.
Hmm.
Desdemona is the polar opposite.
She's with it.
Yeah, she believes that's also a part of the natural world, is that sometimes things are brought back or they last on this world a little longer than you expect them to.
Hmm.
She's like, hey, it's all good to me. As long as nothing is destroying something that's important to me, we're fine here. So if there's a zombie running around, if it's not causing trouble, Desdemona's not going to be crazy. She may even make a zombie if she feels like it. That's the kind of druid Desdemona is. And I love her because one, I am always playing a moral character.
Uh-huh.
I'm always good. And it's not that Desdemona is evil, but what's fun about her is because of her belief system, she can be perceived that way, but she's actually just good and chill. Like she doesn't want to destroy anyone. She doesn't want to hurt anything, but she may raise a zombie to help her clean up some parts of the forest that she's in. And she's
Okay.
part of a druid class I've never played before, because you like to try different things when you're playing D&D, and I've never been she's part of the Circle of Spores.
What are the
So
circle of spores?
so as a druid, you get magic circles you can choose, and they'll determine the type of spells you get. So Shier has a lot of spells that they're damage oriented, but she has like a lot of healing things, and a lot of her flavor is, oh, this is good, this is light, I'm healing, I'm whatever. Desdemona has Circle of Spores, so she has things like cloud kill, insect plague, poison. Um,
Hmm.
so like all those really kind of gnarly things that I don't get to get into. Mainly
Very cool.
insect plague, which is really cool. I can just summon a swarm of locusts and gross things and creepy crawlies.
Very nice. Okay. And so for this particular shoot and for this character, did you make this outfit yourself or did you buy it?
So it is part of the skirt that Desdemona wears is actually part of the outfit I made for the Renaissance Fair, my first Renaissance Fair 3 years ago here in
Wow.
Georgia. Um, and like the top layer of fabric was already built. I just had to build the underlining in it.
Hmm.
So that was already created. And that skirt was one my mom was going to throw out. It was one of my mother's skirts. And I was like, no, give it to me. I'll find something for it. And
Hmm.
her floral corset I purchased, the wig purchased, the gloves purchased. Like, So I didn't make a lot of elements of it. I only just built the bottom inside lining of the skirt for her.
Okay. Well, regardless, it looks very awesome. I mean, you could have got on here and lied, and I definitely would have believed it because it looks amazing.
But I
So,
did very much think about the color patterns that I wanted and the things that I wanted. So it was curated
mhm.
with a concrete idea in mind.
Okay, got it. And so, basically, because we were talking about your Morgan cosplay and your Sakura cosplay, how did you, I guess, really figure out? Because, if you're new to the cosplay world and you don't, you want to just get out of buying cosplays because you buy and you make and you can intertwine the two and do what you want. How did you kind of figure this out? Like, you know, this is, I can make this versus I need to buy this. Tell me a bit about how you discern between the two and how you learn the skills to create your own cosplays.
My grandmother taught me how to sew by hand. So for the
Wow.
longest time, it's only last year that I started sewing with the sewing machine. I had been sewing everything I did by hand.
Wow.
Um, and I used to, when I was little, I used to make clothes for my Barbies out of socks and stuff. So a lot of things spawn from like not really having a lot of money. So you work with what you got. So my grandmother taught me how to sew, and I was already making clothes for dolls and stuff. And it really just depends on when I pick a character. If I know my closet and my material really well.
Mhm.
So if I'm like, oh my God, I love this character, I have to cosplay them, immediately in my head, I'm already thinking, what do I have at home that I can use to make this happen?
Mhm.
And a lot of the times I have the stuff at home. I can figure out how to work it. And then if I don't have something that I can use for it,
Mhm.
then my next stop is always a thrift store.
Mhm.
And then after that, if it's the time frame's really short, I don't have the time to make it, then it's ordering something, purchasing
Mhm.
something for it. So as long as
Okay.
I have enough time, I'll try to build my cosplays. I try to build. But if I don't have the time for it, I have no issue with ordering or anything. Cosplay is about having fun and whatnot. Whether you build or buy, you're still doing it right as long as you're
Mhm.
having fun with it.
Definitely agree. And I've written like several articles about, how to save money or some budget cosplays. But I like that because, not all of us have, I don't know, $3,000 to drop on this commission of, I don't know, whatever have you armor set or cloth set. And, some of us have to get savvy and technical in order to, save money where we can to cosplay. So I think that's really cool. And so I guess how much money have you spent just on one cosplay alone? Both like one that you constructed versus you were like, you know what, I need to have this in my life. I'm dropping this $2,000.
Hmm. I think the most money I've spent on a cosplay, I spent $150 on a on my it was one of my Christmas cosplays a year or two back. Chihaya Kitsuragi from Idolmaster. Um,
Not,
and
yep, not familiar with that either.
it's a and that whole entire cosplay, it's like the full cosplay plus it came with matching boots
Hmm.
and like they made it to my sizes and everything. So it was definitely money well spent for a high quality product. And
Hmm.
that was early on in my cosplay career, so I didn't have the skill set to create something like that. But
Okay,
that's the most money I've spent on a purchased cosplay.
got
Um,
it.
on a made cosplay, let me see. Um, so my boyfriend Danny Reba, he's a digital artist,
Hmm.
and he had this character idea he wanted to do. So he sketched up some designs for it. I haven't released these pictures yet,
Okay.
and he wanted kind of like an Afro samurai type vibe with kabuki elements to it.
Hmm.
So he commissioned me to build this for him. So I can't really say I paid for it because he paid for it because it was something he wanted me to do.
Uh-huh.
It's an intense build. I'm really excited when I get the chance to release it, but I can't release it until he finishes his digital painting of it.
Hmm.
And I think he spent, let's see, it was 4 different types of fabric, about 3 yards each for two. And the other one I already had a couple of different elements. I'd say he spent maybe $80
Wow,
on all
that's
of the
nothing.
materials.
That's nothing.
Yeah, I don't spend a lot of money on it cosplay. It may look like I do. All my money goes to buying the passes to go to cons, not my cosplay. I keep it pretty cheap.
Yeah, those are expensive enough. I mean, phew, some of they can get up there, especially with the hotel and then gas and the food. Like that's half of your budget right there. So,
Hmm.
yeah, okay. And so actually, everyone who doesn't know, Danny actually helped us a lot with this shoot. So shout outs to Danny. Thank you so much for that.
Shout out to all the cosplay partners out there helping their significant others.
Exactly. And that was actually something I want to talk about. And I have talked about it in a few other episodes. And so, how important do you think it is to have a partner that supports you in cosplay?
I think it's important to have a partner that supports you in whatever your passionate hobby is.
Hmm.
Like, not just for cosplay, like for Danny's art. Like, I'm his number one fan for his art, just like he's my number one fan for cosplay. I think I mean, I honestly, personally, for me, it's vital. Like, I can't be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't support me
Hmm.
doing something that generates such peace
Hmm.
and happiness for me, especially in the society that we're in. I think
Hmm.
it's vitally important for me.
Got it. Okay. And so, do you have any other hobbies that you like spend a lot of money on outside of cosplay, or do you funnel it mostly all into bills and cosplay, well, and groceries and yeah?
Almost all of my money gets funneled into cosplay. I guess if you want to call my video gaming a hobby, that's video games and board games, probably the secondary place that my money goes.
Got it. Okay. And didn't you say that you stream every now and then on Twitch?
Very rarely lately. I
Mm.
haven't done it in a while. You won't ever hear me signal blast it because I don't, I
You're
don't
not
do it that
committed.
often. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So very cool. And so, what is your next convention and next cosplay? Is it the one that you haven't, you can't talk about as of yet?
No.
Okay.
The next photos that I'll probably be releasing are casual Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I
Hmm.
was thinking about releasing those Monday of next week, letting those come out. The next cosplay that I'm currently building is Danny and I are going to be the ice climbers. We were supposed to do it for a shoot at AWA for a Smash Brothers shoot, but it got canceled and I got burned out from doing so much over October. So I pushed it back and I was like, they're in snowsuits. So we'll make this like my Christmas cosplay or whatever. So I'm working on an ice climber for me and for Danny. So he's going to cosplay with me. And I'm
Very
going to have to learn
nice.
how to build giant hammers. I don't know how to do it yet. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember about, I don't know, maybe two AWAs ago, so 2 years ago, I actually took some pictures, and those are the only ice climbers I've ever seen cosplay. They're on my Instagram. I can't remember if I actually ever found the guys who did the cosplay. So if they're listening, feel free to go to my Instagram and tag yourselves if I didn't already. But yes, their cosplays were phenomenal just because I've never seen ice climbers cosplayed before. So I don't know, maybe you can look at those images and get some ideas of what to do.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I do you follow, oh my god, what's her name? Why am I blanking out on it? She did a King Dedede and she made a giant hammer for it. Oh, Lady X Skull.
Yes, I do follow her.
Well, she did King Dedede and she made a giant hammer. And I think she might have a tutorial on her Patreon that I'm gonna try and check out.
Oh, very
'Cause her
cool.
hammer looked dope, but her builds are incredible anyway. But
Oh, she's on another level.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
I may check that out and see if I can pull some inspiration to make the hammers from that. Because right now I have no idea how I'm gonna make it happen.
And didn't she change her Instagram? I was looking for her just now, and Lady X Skull is not there anymore. I wonder if she.
She did. I'm following it. I'd have to look it up, but she
Yeah,
still has an Insta, but I definitely think she moved accounts.
I think so too. And yeah, because I remember like seeing that a little while ago, and I followed her new account, but I don't know it off the top of my head anymore.
Yeah.
So, okay. And so, actually, with that idea of mine, what are some other cosplayers that you look up to?
I look up to Talon Kell a lot.
Hmm.
So much. Here locally, I really respect Storyteller cosplay. It's been
Yeah.
nice watching her rise.
Hmm.
Um, oh, so many Adorkable. Oh, my god, I love Adorkable so much, especially because she crochets everything. Her and Yarn Goddess cosplay, like
I'm not
truly
familiar with
phenomenal.
Adorkable.
It's like AH _Dorkable.
Adorkable.
She
Huh?
oh
Yep.
you need to look her up. Her stuff is out of this world for
I
sure.
yep just started following her. I have never heard of her
She was at
before.
AWA. You probably like casually caught a glimpse of her and didn't know it was her.
Probably. Wait. No, okay, because yeah, I was looking at her and she does a lot of yarn things, so I was
Mhm.
wondering if she was the same as Yarn Goddess
Yeah, yeah,
cosplay.
yeah. She does a lot of stuff like Yarn Goddess does.
Yeah,
It's
okay, because yeah,
nice.
I know Yarn Goddess.
Yeah, I got a signed Sailor Tiana print from her. I'm excited.
Oh, very nice. I actually need to reach out to both of them and see what they're up to. But yes, thank you for that. And so, I guess why do you look up to these cosplayers? Like, is it their style? Is it their creative techniques? Their bubbly personality? What is it?
I mean, it's all of those things really. I look up to Talon just because for one, I love Storm and her Storm cosplay was what I saw first, her Storm and her Phoenix.
Hmm.
And they just kind of blew my mind. And then when I actually started following her content,
Hmm.
she just says whatever is on her mind and she
Hmm.
doesn't like sugarcoat
At
anything.
all.
I know I appreciate her worldview.
Hmm.
Um, I appreciate her worldview and just someone that authentic in a community like this. Every community has bad apples and everything. So when you find those really, really good apples, it means a lot.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
same for YG. Yarn Goddess also speaks her mind. Her talent is crazy. I mean, to do the things that her and Adorkable do with yarn just blows my mind.
Me too.
And just I love cosplayers who lift up other cosplayers. I love black women who lift up other women, who lift up black women.
Hmm.
And that's something that all three of them have in common.
Hmm. Got it. Okay. And I was actually just about to say something, but it slipped my mind. Oh yes, right after we finished our shoot, Talon Kell messaged me. It was like because we were just talking about her, and I thought I was like, oh yeah, we were just discussing you. You must have heard us, so that's why you messaged me. So I thought that was hilarious. That as soon as we finished your shoot, she shot me a message. And yeah, so for anyone else who doesn't know her, I actually did an interview with her. I forget how long ago, but you can find that one also on the website and on my podcasts. And I definitely advise you listen to that and check out her work because she's killing it also. So very cool.
And not to just shout out nothing but ladies. There's also Yugo in cosplay.
I
He's a he's a UK cosplayer. His
you
stuff he does a lot of Iron Man suit builds, and he does this really good Black Panther. God, um,
how do you
but
spell that?
yeah, the letter U,
Uh huh.
GOAND cosplay. Yugo and cosplay.
Oh, I thought you said you going cosplay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm checking him out now on Instagram. Very cool. And so, huh, very nice. How did you actually find out about? I have a hard time sometimes finding some cosplayers to follow outside of meeting them at conventions. How do you find a lot of these cosplayers?
Um, 28 Days of Black Cosplay always
Ah,
brings out a lot of cosplayers that I haven't kind of heard of before but want to follow more. And honestly, a lot of them I met at conventions.
Yeah, that's where I meet everyone. I mean, that's how I met you, was through
Mhm.
yeah, a shoot with Dark
Stelara,
Hyperion and huh?
Stelara
Yeah, and
and Dark
Stellara.
Hyperion and Strawberry Cause.
Yep, yep, through all of them, which are now, I mean, I guess I like to consider them friends. I don't know if they consider me friends, but yeah, I consider them. Okay. And so what did you actually, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I will say one way I found some cosplayers that I got to be friends with, not through conventions, is there's a character that I really love cosplaying, Elizabeth from the Persona series.
I
So
know
one day
her.
on Instagram, I just searched a tag to see how many people have tagged their cosplays Elizabeth Persona 3. And I found like 4 different Elizabeth cosplayers, and I messaged them and I was like, hey, I love your cosplay. I love Elizabeth. And then we just started talking back and forth
Hmm.
about how much we love the character, and then we became friends. So that's another thing: find a character you resonate with or a series and search it out and see what the cosplayers who cosplay it are like.
That's genius idea. And actually, I try to do that, but then I don't know. I get stuck in a lot of the. I love the classics a lot. I really like the classic cosplays, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like I can find as many cosplayers cosplaying as them. So maybe I need to update who I'm looking for a bit. And so I forgot what you said. What is your next convention?
Oh, um well, I'm actually going to probably be pulling out of the convention circuit for next year because I'm Danny and I are trying to buy a house. So, gonna trim the budget a little.
I definitely
We're
understand
thinking
that.
about maybe tabling at MomoCon, maybe. No guarantees. But if we don't table at MomoCon, then my next convention will be Dragon Con because I do go to Dragon Con every year without a doubt.
And I missed Dragon Con this year because actually my brother got engaged. So, I mean, I guess that's a valid reason to miss it. So, I did feel some type of way about it, but regardless, it was, I missed it for a good cause.
Yeah.
And so, actually, for anyone who hasn't been, I mean, just since you brought it up, has anyone who hasn't been to Dragon Con, how would you compare it to AWA and MomoCon?
Um, Dragon Con is a 24/7 giant party for all the fandoms. Like, MomoCon, I feel like has a bigger gaming presence than I felt like AWA does. I was not, that's just an opinion. Take it with a grain of salt or whatever. So Dragon Con is just like everything. In anything you're a fandom of, you're gonna find something for you at Dragon Con, and the party don't stop. That's till dawn.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that. I have not actually been to any parties at Dragon Con, but I mean, I'm always, oh my gosh, I'm walking around 24/7, and I never even go to the panels because like the lines are so long. They're like 200 to 300 people, it seems. I'm like, no, I'll just hopefully catch a clip on YouTube or something.
I just it's just the size of it in general. Like it's so much. There's so much of it going on from all down the streets. There's still stuff happening. So I guess like I maybe describe it as kind of overwhelming. If you're used to Momo and AWA, Dragon Con might be a bit overwhelming, but there's just so much to take in and see that I think it's worth it to like give it a try at least once in your life. But if you don't like big, huge, giant crowds and long lines, you're probably not gonna like it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, but you are bound to see some amazing cosplays there,
Mhm.
so definitely.
I mainly go to Dragon Con for the photo shoots. Like there's some panels I go to, but I'm literally just like, okay, these 3 photo shoots are happening on this day. I'm gonna make a cosplay for all of them, and I'm just pinging back and forth through all of the photo shoots.
Nothing like some good pictures.
Yes.
And so, what else was I going to ask you? We only have a few minutes left. I was going to say, oh, just briefly, you've been in the game for a little while and you've made tons of cosplays. Where would you recommend somebody new to start?
Um, I guess I'd just say kind of start with like the casual outfit version of a character you like.
Mhm,
Like a lot of characters will have just like a regular everyday outfit that you can probably pull off with things that you have at home.
mhm,
Um, don't be ashamed to buy your cosplay. If you got it like that, then do it.
mhm,
Go all out if you have the resources to do so.
mhm.
And just pick something that brings you joy. If it brings you joy no matter what, like you're doing it right, like I said earlier.
Okay. And so if you do choose to go with the purchase route, what are some websites that you advise people to use?
Let's see. I'm not familiar with who all is mired in controversy right now.
Mhm,
So I just say like maybe X Causer, I think is still good, and that's XCOSER.
mhm,
Miko Costumes does a lot. And there's a lot of cosplayers I respect that do a lot of the Miko costumes. So that may be a good place to start.
mhm.
The one cosplay I actually purchased from a seller off eBay. If you
Oh.
are gonna buy from things like eBay or like international websites, just make sure you are giving yourself the time to get it,
Mhm,
because shipping for some international websites can be like months.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
just research who you plan to buy for as far as like how long it's going to take them to ship it to you, and know your sizes, because a lot of purchase cosplay websites, they need to know like your exact measurements because they build
mhm,
it to order.
mhm. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of X-Causers and Miko costumes, right? I think that's how you.
I think it's Miko
Yeah,
Costumes.
I've heard of both of them, and I've heard of people using them and having good experience with them. Also, Easy Cosplay. I've heard of some people using them too, but you know, yeah, that's the three I've heard. So okay. And so, well, that basically wraps up everything for today. Was there anything else you wanted to say or discuss or let the people know?
Um, Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for doing a photo shoot with me. I just personally want to say, like, your energy at a shoot, like I can just feed off of it. Like you are just so positive and excited, and like that really made the shoot for me. Like getting to do an outdoor shoot and everything was super duper cool, but just your enthusiasm about it was contagious. So just thank you for the experience to shoot with you again, and I hope we can work together more in the future. Like it
Uh,
was amazing. Thank you.
oh, thank you so much. You're making me blush. But no, thank you. Once again, I appreciate the opportunity to work with you. And you were my first non-con shoot. And I mean, I can't enforce enough, I mean, or just restate enough how much I've been trying to get outside of cons and do shoots. Because I mean, I've gone to AWA for so many years. I just started going to MomoCon. I've gone to Dragon Con, Ichiban Con, all these cons, and it's just like every year it's nice to see new cosplayers and familiar cosplayers, but it's the same setting
Yeah.
every year, and I'm like, you can only stretch it so far, so it's very nice to get away. So thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure.
And one last thing I forgot, for everybody who can't see, you have this awesome hat. What is that hat you're wearing?
You're gonna get me some hate. It's still November, but I'm already rocking my it's a polar bear with a Santa.
Oh, now I see it. Got
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Because
already rocking my Christmas gear.
Because all I could see from the way you're sitting, I could just see the nose and the ears. I thought it was like maybe a seal. I didn't know what it was. I was like, yes, I like your hat. That's very cool.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in again to the Boundless Podcast. I would like to say thank you again to Shellcott Cosplay for coming on and speaking with us for a little bit. And until next time, everybody stay boundless. See you again. Bye bye.